So guys, here we are, MMA UK News, Stoomboy as always. So joined today by obviously a special guest presenter. So Craig Spider Mop McIntosh, obviously Submission Factory. Also, what is it? President, CEO, Chairman, Big Dog of ADCC Scotland.
That's the title, man. That's the title. Do you know what I mean? But,
so yeah, obviously head of
as
ADCC
presidential
Scotland.
as Donald Trump. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, runs an awesome event, ADCC Scotland. So not just obviously invitationals, but obviously competitions as well. So always great events, regardless of which one you go to. So definitely making a lot of big stars under the ADCC rule set. So we've seen a lot of guys who have represented for the first time under an ADCC rule set and have come on leaps and bounds. And yeah, we're going to see some superstars coming through ADCC Scotland. So
the level's getting crazy. Obviously, we just got finished with the matches on Saturday, and there's some absolutely crazy high level matches. Just the scrambles and stuff are unbelievable. Shawnee's match with Kev Corkle was just pure wizardry. Like, see when you look how technical these guys were. Just each person had a counter for the other person's counter, and they were just all over the place, man. They must have ran through so many different positions and attacks, and they're both so good with their defense that it was just like every defensive movement came with a counter. It was awesome to watch. But the full card was class, start to finish.
Nice, always is. Do you know what I mean? So, and then we're joined by some wee guy. Do you know what I mean? This guy seems to be making a lot of waves at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Or he has done over the last few years. I'd say Mark McQueen.
I was just wondering how you were going to top my introduction after Mop.
Well, I've not finished yet. You know what I mean? So, Mark McQueen, MNBJJ Glasgow. So, obviously representing an amazing team under Marcus Nardini. So, Mark, as I said, made a lot of waves over the last few years. Do you know what I mean? He's only been doing this now for, just shy of 5 years? Not even 5 years?
Just over, like 5 years and 5 years, 2 months, I think.
Yeah, so obviously only been doing it 5 years, just over 5 years. I'd say absolutely amazing. I remember Mark coming into the gym for the very first time, and obviously a white belt. Still, obviously a wee bit wet behind the ears at that point, but then he's put in a lot of effort into his game, especially during lockdown. Lockdown's when we've seen the advancement. Once he came out of lockdown, it was like a completely different person. Do you know what I mean? So obviously he trained a lot with his brother in the McQueen garage. So did a lot of training there. And yeah, I mean, he's been a European champion.
Well, man.
Yeah.
During lockdown. I was going to say, man, I noticed that about you, like the first time meeting you, then just obviously you're quite a big intimidating fella. Do you know what I mean? If I'm looking at you, I'm thinking, man, this guy would be very, very hard to grapple with. You know what I mean? But the fact that, like, when you came through that day to do a bit of training and stuff, I was just like, you were constantly asking questions, like just no ego whatsoever, which is rare to see for somebody as physically strong. Do you know what I mean? And because I just thought with that mindset, you've also had a champion mindset. You're probably your whole life, man. We're becoming a world champion at other things, and I think it's just such an amazing thing to see when you've got a world champion mindset, how it just transfers to something else.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate. I think that's one thing that holds like a lot of big guys back a lot. I feel like they have a lot of success in, like, you know, lower belts, like at white belt and maybe even blue belt, and then like you see them kind of fall away as around like blue belt or maybe start getting above. And I feel like that's because they come in, they have such a huge amount of success with like just like their size and strength and or athleticism. But then, like, you know, that only takes you so far, and then eventually you start getting to a level where, like, you know, everybody starts to maybe have like those attributes, and then it's about who's actually better. And I feel like the thing that only transcends you beyond that is like actually like getting like really good at jiu-jitsu. And as well, I also feel like as well, like like a lot, just in my experience with like a lot of big guys that I've trained with, like it's like quite an unwillingness to learn, and I don't, you know what I mean? I don't really understand it.
I get it, because it's got to be like, I've obviously coached a lot of bigger guys and stuff over the years, and it's got to be hard to then take advice for somebody when you're winning more of your rounds, you know. But like for me, if I'm watching somebody, regardless whether they're winning or not, I can still see if they're doing something right or wrong. And a lot of people aren't wanting to hear that. You know, when they're training or competing or whatever, they're like, well, I'm getting success, you know. And like you say, that probably happens at the earlier levels, but unless you've got that ability to, you know, to keep developing and keep, you know, advancing your game, you don't get to the next levels.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think as well, I think it's like almost like, I don't know if it's like a lack of intelligence or like a lack of self-awareness, but like, yeah, like I think you have to be self-aware enough to like, because like I definitely like, and like, even like still is like, you know, I'm like, I probably got away with that because of, you know, because of my size or my strength, for example. Like, would that actually work against somebody who's like of equal attributes? You know, so that's like, yeah, I feel like you have to be, the most important thing is you have to be self-aware, because you have to like eventually, you know, you have to be self-aware, and then you have to also like be coachable. And I think a lot of people aren't particularly coachable, but I think for big guys it's maybe sometimes worse, because a lot of people aren't coachable, but then on top of that, you're having so much success, you know, early on. So it's like it almost kind of feeds into the, you know, like, oh, I don't, like, why would I need to do that? Because it's, you know, this is working so well.
Aye.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, coming out of lockdown, obviously you went into lockdown, you just won the Europeans, IBJJF Europeans, in the gi, Mark, in the fucking gi.
Listen, I'm retired, undefeated in the gi.
Yeah.
Not had a single point scored against me.
True. I was like something like,
and then
something like 22 matches, no points scored against you. Yeah. So, listen, that gi will come back.
We just don't tell people it was at white belt. That's that.
Listen, the gi will come back, man. The gi will come back. It always does. Do you know what I mean? That's the, you go through a stage, no gi, but then the older you get, do you know what I mean? The gi will come out. The gi will come out. So, but as he did that, won the Europeans, IBJJF, in the January, and then we went into lockdown in the March, which kind of affected a lot of people in regards to the being able to train, being able to do anything that we used to be able to do. So, but then you, as they training with Gavin and stuff like that, throughout lockdown, obviously the two of you together, obviously they had that, what was it, the 2-person family rule. So we stuck within the rules, Mark. So I'm happy with that. But
did your brother start first? Sorry, but did your brother start before you?
Yeah, so Gavin started in. I think he was living in Australia, and I think he started in Australia. And when I started jiu-jitsu, Gavin was a blue belt, and I think he'd been doing it for 2 years, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe closer to 3 by the time I started.
Are you quite competitive for each other?
Just
because I've got a brother, so I know what it's like sometimes. You know what I mean?
Actually, so Gavin's like one of my best training partners by a mile, because also as well, like, he's like, you know, like 90, like 100 kilos, you know, so he's like a big guy, and like he's like also like, you know, he just got his brown belt off Marcos as well, so he's also like really good. So yeah, but no, I wouldn't say like that's one thing we've never actually been is like, and I know what you're talking about, like brothers are like, you know, so competitive to the point where like you fall out and stuff. Like, no, we've never actually been, we've not been like that. Like, obviously, like we train really hard, but like I wouldn't say it doesn't tend to go to the competitiveness of like how some brothers do, where like you start fighting and stuff like that. No,
I get that, man. Me and Stevie are pretty similar, and like we're competitive with each other, but we've never fallen out or anything like that over it.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like we train, like I was training with him this morning, also I just got back from training, like we train really, really hard, but no, like it's like not competitiveness to the point where like we like what's the word, like we fall out or try and kill each other.
And is he your older or younger brother?
He's my big brother, he's my older brother.
Yeah, cool.
He must be fucking raging, Mop. Do you know what I mean? Your younger brother who started jiu-jitsu 2 years after you, do you know what I mean, is now going to be head to ADCC in Vegas. Do you know what I mean? Making history. Gavin must be very supportive, mate.
I was going to say the thing about brothers is, man, probably like nobody in the world wants more for you. It wants better for you than your brother. You know what I mean? He's going to want the absolute best for you. So, you know, I found that, and I think that's why, like, you hear the term like brother, you know, thrown about a lot in grappling gyms and stuff like that. And we try and have like a brother type culture in our gym. But like that's how it is, you know. Your brother looks out for you, and in real life, your brother's always going to want the best for you.
Yeah.
You know? So you can't have somebody better around you to train with than somebody that genuinely has that care for you and love for you.
Yeah, and like during COVID, that is it. Like generally, Gavin, I still stayed at home with my parents when COVID happened, but Gavin didn't. Gavin had his own place, but he moved back in to our home so that we put mats down in our garage, or my mum and dad's garage, I should say.
Awesome.
And then yeah, like we train like honestly, like I know COVID like wasn't particularly a great time, but like yeah, like that was honestly some of my best ever training.
Same, man. I was the fittest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Wrestling every single day, twice a day, kettlebells. It was brilliant, man.
Yeah, I know it was good. And then obviously, I don't remember when during COVID, but I started coming up because Rab, he was preparing for an MMA fight, wasn't he? Yeah, and then
we were trying to get him some training partners at the time, and it was your brother I had spoke to, and he was like, "Mark's up for any training with big guys." You know what I mean? He's wanting to get rounds in. And then obviously you'd pop through and stuff, and I remember you had that fucking Kimura down, you know, the side control Kimura. It was just like takedown pass, side control Kimura. You had that fucking technique down at a T, man. And you tend to see that the way, like where somebody's got, like when somebody can do that with one thing, you just got all the details perfect on it. You end up doing the same with the next thing. Do you know what I mean? Probably comes from being a perfectionist.
Yeah. It's, the Kimura is actually something I've gotten away from, and like I've realised that recently. Like it's actually something I kind of gotten away from. I feel like I don't know. You don't tend to see it too much at like the highest levels in no-gi, do you? I don't know if that's why I've gotten away from it a little bit. I think it's more like a control point rather than a finishing point. But yeah, like that was like historically like my best move by a mile.
Mm-hmm. As far as big guys go, you definitely see it a lot in MMA for big guys. I remember, was it Nogueira Frank Mir when he fucking snapped his shoulder right off, man?
Frank Mir broke his. Oh, that was terrible. Aye.
Mm-hmm. Aye, because if somebody with that size and strength gets a hold of it, you know, they can take it home for sure.
Let me ask as well, Mark, because obviously you've done amazing stuff so far. Got so much left to do. Obviously, ADCC trials was massive. I mean, we had Cammy Donnelly, I think, got the closest anybody had ever got from Scotland, got a silver medal. And I know that you went and did the trials the first time, but the first time was more of a see how it was type thing. It wasn't really, I know you wanted to go over and win, of course you did, but for you, I remember talking to you, and it was a case of, I want to go over there and see what it's like. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And experience it. If I go over and win it, fantastic. We go to Vegas, right? But the first time was just a kind of tune-up to kind of get you out there.
The very first time was in Poland, and that was when was that? Was that May 2022?
I think it was it. So. Was it? Yeah. It would have been. Was it 22 last year?
Yeah, it was 22. Definitely, I was 22 May 2022. So that was two years ago. 100%. Like I think this is, and I think like like obviously like, and I think people sometimes maybe think that like you. When I say this, you like can have a defeatist attitude, but I feel like I'm like quite a realistic person. Like I have obviously like, you know, massive goals, but like I also like have like can be pretty realistic. So when I was going to that first trials, I was like, you know, I've been training for just under 3 years. Like, you know, and I knew like obviously Daniel Manisawi from New Wave was going to be there and stuff like that. So I was like, you know, I'm going to go and like I'm going to give it absolutely everything I've got, but like I really don't know what to expect. I just want to see how this actually is. I won my first match by rear naked choke, and then my second match I had with that, and I can never say his name. He's from Morocco. Is it Sefamine Hussein, the guy that weighs 185 kilos?
Oh, the guy that fought Mikey Musameki. Yeah.
I seen that match. That match. That was crazy.
He he was like 185 kilos, but he's like won like black belt worlds, black belt Euros. He's beat like he like took down and choked Muhammad Ali, like like who's been at ADCC like several times. So me and him went to, it was the worst match in the history of jiu-jitsu. Like genuinely was the worst match like ever. It was 0-0, went to overtime 0-0, went to referee's decision. And I actually remember the referees going over it and seeing the referees been like, I don't know, because neither of us did it, got anything going. But it went to him, and fair enough. Like it could have went, like like I didn't do anything, he didn't do anything. Like honestly, I think like you just flip a coin, so that was fair enough. Then I was like, honestly, like I've only been training for a few years, like 3 years. Like I actually, like I feel like I'm actually like ready for this level. So then also I went to trials last September, and going into that, I genuinely thought I was going to win that. Again, won my first match by submission. Second match, lost by submission to Oscar Spells and a heel hook, and got my leg broken, or got my ankle broken pretty badly. And then, but like honestly, like in the time it's devastating, and it's obviously like absolutely gutting, like but it's also a good thing, like because like like the reality was like when that happened, like it highlighted like right, realistically speaking, like I'm not actually ever going to be able to compete at this level with like my current ability of like defending leg entanglements. So it's like so then for the next from September to February, pretty much everything I was doing was leg locks, and leg entanglements. And then went to this trials and won. And the thing was as well was like 3 of my opponents were leg lockers. So like my first match was a big boy from Germany, who was like 130 kilos, I think, enormous. And he took in the trials last year, he took Dan to points. So he lost like only like 2 or 3-0 to Big Dan, which like pretty fucking excellent. And he was a leg locker, and so won that. Second match was a guy called Franco Pana, who he's not. But then third, my semi-finals and finals, they're both kind of leg lockers, especially Freddie. Freddie's, in the finals known as a leg locker. So it was like, time invested very well. And like, don't get me wrong, obviously there's still room for huge improvement with them. But I feel like, losing like that, like it's quite good because it can put things into perspective as well. Because like that's it. Because up until then, I was winning it, from the previous trials. I was kind of winning everything, and everything was going really well. And it's like when things are going really well, it's like don't really want to change it. But then losing that was like a really good moment because it's like, right, things have been going well, but actually here's a really glaring issue that needs resolved. And then obviously won trials. So then again, it's like it's hard to take. When I won trials, it's like everything I did worked really well. So it's like just need to keep doing more of that. But then I'm sure in future something will come up, and I'm like, right, I need to really knuckle down. This isn't good enough.
How did you find your match with Freddie?
Good. It was going into it, obviously, like, and you knew like, because like I remember when I first started jiu-jitsu, like only a couple of months in, I think, like I'd heard about him because like, he was doing a seminar or something like that.
Yeah.
And like he is like legitimately world class. Like he's a really, really high level guy. Like really
Polaris open weight champion, wasn't he? He won the Polaris open weight. That was pretty.
Yeah, he was at the Grand Prix open weight champion and stuff, and like just really high level guy. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen him in person, but he is a absolute fucking unit. Like he is just like a ball of muscle as well. But going into my match, I was like, again, like I thought I was going to win, but I'm also like, right, realistically speaking, this guy's better than me than jiu-jitsu. Like he just is. I just feel like this guy, if we put all attributes together, I feel like this guy's probably better than me. But I was like, I think I'm probably got better attributes. I think I'm probably fitter. I feel like I'm fitter and stronger and more athletic. So I've got that on my side. I was like, and I feel like my wrestling's going to be better. And I was like, so if I can like implement those things, I was like, I feel like I can, and keep it on what I'm trying to do. I was like, I think I can do this. And that's what happened. We started wrestling. I quickly realised he didn't want to wrestle and he wanted to be on, but he wanted to pull guard, but also he can't pull guard in the finals. So he was kind of just, I could tell he was trying to just let me take him down. So I was like, oh no, I'm not just going to fucking give you bottom position and not get something for it. So I was like, either I'm going to get a takedown to where like I'm like in a body lock and in a quite a good position, or I'm going to try and wait till points and I'm going to actually get a reward for it. But he shot and then managed to pull Turtle off of that, if that makes sense. And then it was good. I honestly feel like, and I could be misremembering, but I feel like it was pretty one-way traffic, if I'm honest. I don't really remember him actually really doing, I don't really feel like ever been put in like a defensive cycle. I feel like it was pretty one-way traffic of like me passing and then him like regarding and stuff. I felt pretty comfortable, felt good. Then he put me in close guard. I don't remember how we ended up there. And straight away I was like, fucking fantastic, because now I need to stand up and he's going to try and enter my legs straight away. So then eventually stood up, and then that's how I passed, because I felt like as I was going to stand up, because I'd seen him do it in a match earlier on, that when I did that, he was going to try and like kind of wrestle up from it. And when he did that, I shot like far side underhook and then passed off that and got my passing points. So no, I felt really good in the match. I felt really comfortable, and I felt like it was quite one-way traffic, if I'm honest.
Aye, awesome. No, I thought that must have been a funny feeling going into it. Like at the time, obviously, still quite experienced, but obviously he had a lot of hype about him and some of the, the big achievements that he had as well.
Oh yeah, he was the favourite by by a massive mile. Yeah, by a huge amount.
Aye, and that's going to give you a lot of confidence going into this as well, because you're going to be able to showcase some stuff, and a lot of people will not know what they're up against, but they'll feel it soon enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me ask as well, because obviously match had finished, you knew you'd won. The emotions, obviously we saw the finger thing, you know what I mean, the emotions obviously running wild. One, you'd won the trials. Two, you'd made Scottish jiu-jitsu history, grappling history. Do you know what I mean? You're going to be the first Scottish person to ever go over ADCC in Las Vegas to compete. What was the feeling? How did you feel?
I honestly don't even know. I was honestly quite furious. I was quite angry, if I'm honest. My initial reaction. So I remember walking out, and don't get me wrong, I don't. In hindsight, I actually don't think I don't care at all, and I actually it's not a problem. But walking out, it was like someone said like fuck this guy Freddie or something like that. I remember here, and like quite right, like yeah, like if I'm Freddie's friend, it's like yeah, of course fuck this guy, like fuck this guy Freddie.
And you're like fuck you.
Yeah, but like in my head, I'm like fuck me, like fuck you. So that is quite funny, and then. During the match, I don't know if annoyed is the right word, but like I kept hearing from and again, I understand it's just his corner, and his corner is his friends and his coaches. So obviously, but in the moment, I heard them they kept shouting for passivity and stalling calls and things like that. And I'm like, are you fucking joking? I've literally not stopped trying to pass for 1 second. I what? I remember in my head, I remember thinking, what the fuck are you talking about passivity? I'm like, it's been all me. If there's anything, it's he's not done anything. So I remember that being quite annoyed. And then I remember he did, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he tried to go to deep half. And I think I went all the way around and stepped out of it. But I remember the crowd fucking and again I could be misremembering this, but I think I heard the crowd all cheer or a big noise from the crowd. I remember that pissed me off as well. So I think when I won, I was actually more just fuck all of fucking get that right.
Right,
so I think in the initial moment I was yeah, but then after it was kind of I can't believe that I just did that. Does that make sense? Even though going into it, I genuinely believed that I could win it. But also after it was just I can't believe I actually have done that. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
amazing, man.
It was amazing.
People realise how hard it is to actually win the trials. It's it's crazy level. Every match is a top guy in Europe or the world, because a lot of people are actually coming from all over the world and finding some kind of.
Well, that's kind of it, because the European trials are Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Yeah.
So that's like straight away. That's like genuinely like how many countries? Like
a big chunk of the world, aye.
70, 80 countries. Like how I mean, a huge amount of countries, and then that's right. It's like you've got people coming over from who are American, who like have a passport and like they lived in America and they trained. So like, it's basically just the whole world. And
Our
also,
granny
remember
was
here,
Scottish one time or something like that, and they've managed to get
yeah.
get
And
onto the trials.
I remember hearing. I can't remember who it was, but I remember listening to somebody saying that like actually like sometimes trials is like a little bit harder than like ADCC itself because. And they were saying like you want to get out of the trap of having to do trials and just being able to just do ADCC, because when you're at ADCC, you're already there. Like you're literally already at the Olympics of grappling. You're there.
Yeah.
You're with the top 16 people in the world. Like you're already there. There's not another level. So like if you're there, it's all to play for. But with ADCC trials in a weight class, you might have 2 or 3 people that are previous winners. Like for example, in the next trials, it could be me, Heike, and Dan, for example, in plus 99. That's 3 trials winners, 3 people that have been to ADCC, all in the one weight class.
Yeah.
So it's like to just get to ADCC, you're having to beat 2 people that are already technically the top 16 in the world. Just to get to the top 16 in the world. Whereas at least when you're at ADCC, you're already there.
You notice it a lot with like Mateusz Soshinsky. He's obviously my weight class, and I've always kind of paid attention to that division. But he's came in second a bunch of times, but it's because a lot of the time, he's ending up in there, and he's got like Taza, Tommy Laneker. He's bumping into all of these guys en route who are already at that top level.
Exactly. Like if you look at like that 77 class, the first trials. It was something like 5 or 6 of those guys are literally like you could put all 6 of them in ADCC and so it's
I think you mentioned it though. I mean, you mentioned it on. I think you did a podcast with Adam and Taylor, and one thing I remember hearing was when you were talking about. You mentioned it there with the trials and with the actual ADCC. The trials, these guys are fighting to get on the big show. So it's going to make it more exciting. But once you're there, and you said you're not one of the guys that's happy to be there. Do you know what I mean? Because you know yourself, you go to competitions. Do you know what I mean? I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of it where it's like, fucking, I'm taking in the atmosphere. I'm wandering about chatting to people and just having a laugh, enjoying myself. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm now at an age where I'm like, I mean, to me, I'm not going to win the ADCC. I'm not going to win world championships and stuff like that. So I'm happy to be there. But you said you're not one to sit there and be happy to be there. Oh, I've got to the main event. I'm just happy to be here. You're going to go and fight for it. Whereas other people would be there and say, well, I'm there. I don't need to do anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's a good thing to have. It's good mindset to have.
Your first matchup be?
Who would you want? Who would you want first?
I honestly, I genuinely don't know. I'm not just saying that. Like I genuinely don't know. I feel like, it's the top 16 people in the world. I feel like
one of the legends would be cool, man.
Yeah, I feel like the tops of every single person you get is going to be, what's going to be they're like literally the best in the world. So it's going to be so difficult regardless. But I do think maybe like a legend, because maybe they're hopefully old and a little bit tired.
Don't count the old guys off, Mark. Don't count the old guys off.
Last ever Worlds.
Yeah, aye.
And he's obviously his 8th time or something like that he's done Worlds, I think.
That's mental.
Aye, and it's he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame and stuff like that as well. So I don't know. That'd be quite a cool match. Probably
that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, no, I genuinely don't know. I've honestly not even really thought about who I'd want first match. Just
you take a good look at everybody.
Yeah, I do think you're right also, and I don't think going to a competition and taking it all in and enjoying it is fun because, like, realistically speaking, like, I were to compete in the team, like a sold out T-Mobile Arena at the biggest grappling event in history, and there's nothing to say that I'll ever get to do that again.
Yeah.
You know, like, and again, I think I will, but there's nothing to say that I will actually get to do it again. And so I feel like, it would be stupid to not take it all in and enjoy it. But then I also feel like that can be a trap, because I feel like you then are just kind of falling to like, oh, I'm just happy to be here and whatnot. And like the truth is, I'm not just happy to be there. And again, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that attitude at all. I don't think there is. And I actually think, to be honest, I'm envious of that attitude a lot of the time, because I'd love to be able to be like that. But I'm not happy to just be there like that, and that's the truth. Like, I don't want to just be the guy that, like, oh, I remember that time I got to ADCC one time. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's amazing. Like, what an achievement for somebody. And I'm not shitting on anybody, but just for me, that's not what I want for myself. I just have, slightly bigger goals than that for myself. So I'm not just happy to be there. But I do think it can be a catch-22, because it can be quite a bad attitude sometimes, because you can kind of let really big opportunities kind of just go by, and you don't actually get to appreciate or enjoy them.
Put a lot of pressure on yourself as well, obviously, when you've got high expectations. I always felt a bit like that with MMA, man. Just fucking didn't matter what I'd done, I was disappointed with myself. Do you know what I mean? It's it is hard, like.
Yeah, because it's a real trap, because it's like, you want to win, and then when you finally win, it's like, well, you want to win better, and then it's like, then when you win better, it's like, oh, but this wasn't good enough, and it's like it's just never ending, and you're right, because
enjoying what you've done.
Yeah, because it ruins and when I think of like powerlifting, for example, like I ruined every single achievement I ever made in powerlifting, because again, it's like, oh, but I could have done, X, so it's a catch-22. It's good for driving progress, but it's also bad for living in the moment.
Aye, but you'll have a time where you get to sit back and enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Where you're not on the hunt. You know what I mean? But right now you're on the hunt for success, so it's like there's plenty of time to sit and reminisce, I suppose, when you're old and done.
Aye, no, I agree 100%.
What about that ranking as well? Obviously, ADCC ranked you number 10 in the world. Was it number 10? Yeah, number 10 in the world.
It was top 10. I think it might have even been slightly less than 10. I think it might have even been 8th or 9th.
Mm-hmm. What's that feeling? Because obviously, again, that's because obviously we say Shea Montague. Shea Montague was ranked number 1 in the world for IBJJF. But then ADCC, again, slightly different. Do you know what I mean? So not jiu-jitsu, submission grappling, but to be in that top 10 must be a fucking amazing feeling. I mean, you look at that top 10, Gordon Ryan, Big Dan, yourself, do you know what I mean? A lot of unbelievable people in it.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit, I don't know the word, I don't really know how to articulate it. It's a weird feeling, because I'm like watching all these guys instructionals, or watching all these guys on like post like their free technique videos on Instagram or YouTube, or I'm watching their matches and trying to see what they do and trying to learn from them, and then all of a sudden my name's like in a row with their name. So yeah, it's quite a weird feeling, but good, because again, that's where I need to be. That's just like, that's like, and it's not about, it's not that's not like being arrogant. It's just like, that's where I need to be. I need my name to be in contention with these guys to achieve what I want to achieve. Like, so I need to get my name there. But it is very, very cool. It is really cool.
Yeah. There's 2 things that disappoint me with you, Mark.
Okay.
1, you don't answer my fucking phone calls anymore. Yeah, unbelievable. Now that he's a big time mop, he doesn't answer the phone to the mere fucking mortals that are checking him out.
Stoom called me at 10:45 on a Friday night, and it was a FaceTime while I was literally in the shower.
What were you up to?
That's the best time to answer.
Were you on the drinks, Stoom? What were you doing?
Come back, do you know what I mean? But it's to do with jiu-jitsu, do you know what I mean? So it was, we wanted to run something by you, but I'll talk to you after that. Plus as well, so that's the first thing that disappoints me. The second thing is he puts a big post up the other day, Mop, right? So oh yeah, almost ready, blah, blah, blah. I want to thank this person, thank that person. And I'm looking down the list of people, Mop, right? I never seen my name once. It wasn't there. There was no mention. It's, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Mark used
I
to
know
love me.
you did tell me that you taught him everything he knows, but you
I
didn't
did,
teach him
mate. I
everything
did.
that you know.
Yeah. But no, listen, he knows. I absolutely love Mark. I absolutely love him. I mean, I wish him all the success. Do you know what I mean? I know what he's done, what he's put into it. I know how good he is. Do you know what I mean? Even if he doesn't think he's that good, I know he's better than he thinks he is. Do you know what I mean? So, and when he goes over to Vegas, he's going to fucking shut a lot of people up, man. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there thinking, oh, whatever. The Americans, they're thinking he's coming over. The last thing the Americans remember is the Big Dan match.
Mm-hmm.
But then Mark James since Big Dan, he talked about working on leg locks. Do you know what I mean? He's training with Jack Brown, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's one of the best leg lockers coming out of Scotland? Jack Brown. Do you know what I mean? So, and all these other wee guys that he's training with, they're all fucking doing leg locks. They're all doing heel hooks. They're all doing leg stuff. So that's who Mark has to go against all the time. So I think you're going to go over and do well. Very well. Do you know what I mean? So
The way I would probably look at it is, man, what you've been able to achieve in 5 and a bit years, and it's just, like the start of your career.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy to see what you're able to achieve in the next 5 years. It'll be amazing, man.
Yeah. Plus, you imagine that.
On the map.
Imagine that post after it. He goes over there, wins the ADCC, and it says, "You guys have been doing this for fucking 15 years. I've been doing it for 5 years. Like, fuck yous all." Do you know what I mean?
Turn into full heel mode.
yeah. So, but no, I think, do you know what I mean? Just his game. I remember seeing Mark at the very beginning, right, when you would go on his back and he couldn't get up. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You were able to do things. Everybody in the gym were able to bully Mark, but then he started learning some technique. Do you know what I mean? And he only needed to learn one move, which was like the Kimura. So he would get the Kimura on you and it'd be like, right, okay, fuck, I need to tap before he even touches this. So, and then from then on, just progressed. And then to see where he is today, do you know what I mean, is absolutely unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? It's a joy to watch. Every time he goes out in comps, whether it be a local comp or whatever, ADCC trials and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? I'm watching and I'm so proud just to see him out there.
Well, even
but he still doesn't thank me. He still doesn't thank me.
I'll never thank you, Stoom. I'll never, ever.
Honestly.
No, I do think, and I'm not obviously wouldn't name names, but the thing is that for me, and especially in my weight class, I feel like you see a lot of people, or I know quite a few people who, like, you watch their match from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and you watch their match now, and there's absolutely zero evolution of their game. They're just doing the same thing. And okay, maybe they're a little bit sharper, maybe they're a little bit better, but there's like absolutely zero evolution. But then to me, it's like, I always like to think, who are the literal best guys in the world, and who do I want to be? It's like, right, what are these guys actually doing? And it's like, when you watch them, if you watch their match from 3 years ago to now, they're completely different. If you watch, let's just, for example, if you watch Gordon Ryan from like 5 years ago, and then you watch Gordon Ryan now, and you put two matches together, he looks a very, very different grappler. If you watch like Nicky Rod, his first ADCC to like right now, he's a very different grappler. Now, I'm not saying they're not still doing the things that they were doing 5 years ago. Of course they are, but there's so much added in that they look so different. Like, there's constant evolution of their game, and that's what I feel like I want to be. And again, I think as a big guy, it's very, very easy to get caught in a trap of not having very much evolution, because you have so much success just almost kind of doing what you want. But that's where I feel like a little bit of like self-awareness and intelligence, or I suppose what your goals are, because you actually don't care. It doesn't matter. But to me, I actually really do care. And it's like, even my last competition was ADCC Scotland. I came and I pulled guard in all my matches as well, and entered legs. Got, you know, yeah, so like in the last ADCC Scotland, I pulled guard, got heel hooks, pulled guard, onto people's backs and stuff like that. And of course, that's not going to be my game plan for this ADCC, obviously. But what I mean is that, like, I feel like it's the willingness to like put yourself out there and actually like fail and make mistakes, because I'm pulling guard, for example, and like one of the guys I pulled guard against, who is actually a friend of mine, Big Max. Like, you know, he's like significantly bigger than me. And it's like he easily I could have done that, and I'm not maybe particularly good at it, and then I could have lost. And like, you know, I feel like you have to be willing to do that, and I feel that's the problem with a lot of people, is that they're
He's
not.
a good lad, Big Max, eh?
Yeah, but he's a great guy, fantastic guy. But you know, people aren't maybe willing to, you know, go out and make mistakes, and that's why I feel that maybe there's a lack of evolution in some people's games. And I feel that's the difference between like a Nicky Rod and a Gordon Ryan, is that I feel like they are actually willing to go out and make mistakes and fail, and I feel like that's what actually makes them different. So to me, if I want to be like them, I feel like I've got to try and copy and emulate what they do. So it's just a constant evolution. So like I'd like to look back and, like, you know, in 2 years' time, be able to watch a match from 2 years ago and look very different.
Do you have a favourite submission at all?
Say that again, sorry?
Do you have a favourite submission at all?
I honestly don't. No, I genuinely don't.
Just one that ends up with the person tapping.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm quite a straightforward guy. I'm not picky. Whatever I can get.
Let me ask as well, because obviously this is a topic that you probably, it came up, you've probably heard that a number of times, Mark, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, MNBJJ, we've got some amazing guys, not just MNBJJ, across Scotland. And you've got the choice of many amazing training partners, but there's probably going to come a time where not maybe move on, but you're going to need to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, spend some time over in America, mm-hmm. at the B team or whoever, right? Mm-hmm. Is that something that's on your mind?
Yeah, that's like
because I know you're loyal. You're not going to leave Marcos. I know that, right? But just to potentially progress your game or take you to even bigger steps than where you are at the moment.
No, absolutely. Like I like there's no two ways about it. I need to get out to like New Wave, and like train there. There's no two ways about it. It's been very apparent and obvious. The reason I didn't do it for this ADCC is just because I feel they've got so many of their own guys doing ADCC, and they've also got so many of their own guys competing in my weight class in ADCC. And to be fair to them, they don't tend to be very protective of stuff like that. Like, you know, I feel like their training room, they generally like tend to let if you're going to come and be a good training partner, they don't tend to have an issue. But I just felt like I would rather kind of stay within the UK and travel around the UK, which I've been doing, and maybe, you know, be able to have like special treatment's not the right word. I'm not looking for special treatment, but more like, you know, like for example, like with Marcos, be able to just have somebody maybe put a little bit more attention on me, if that makes sense. Whereas I feel like if I went out if I went out for say 2 or 3 months right before ADCC, like I don't deserve anything out there from these people. So I'm just another person on the mat, and of course that's absolutely fine, and it'd still be super beneficial. But I maybe just in my head, I maybe just thought just have a little bit more focus. But I definitely need to get me and my girlfriend. I definitely need to get the both of us out to Texas and be there. Yeah, that's awesome. like something I'm going to have to do, which I do find quite annoying, if I'm honest. Like I feel like it's quite annoying that, like, you know, I pretty much have to like uproot the both of us and move us over there to like keep going. But you know, I needs must. But yeah, I don't know when, but it's definitely a real, like, it has to happen for like you said, like the next kind of step. I need to get the both.
You can only try it out and see how you enjoy it and stuff as well. If you fit in with the team and all that as well, man.
Yeah. I think probably what, you know, I wouldn't just like uproot both of our lives and move us there. I think probably go over for, you know, maybe 6-8 weeks.
Similar to what Cammy does. Similar to what Cammy Donnelly does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd probably take us both over and go 6 to 8 weeks and see how it is. And then at the end of that 8 weeks, I'm like, no, I need to be here. No matter, you know, then that's for us to figure out. Because obviously, like, I don't know how visas and all that work. But yeah, that's definitely something that we need to do, for sure.
Yeah. Who done all your flights and all? Who sorted your flights out? You or Rachel?
ADCC.
Nice, okay. Yeah, I knew that they covered everything. I didn't know they covered it and said, right, your flight's at such and such time.
Oh no, yeah, they done ADCC were great. They did everything. I just had to send my passport, and then they email me, here's your place.
Awesome.
And they got me check-in luggage too, Stoom. Can you believe that?
Mate, it's only fair, man. Just pack me in a bag, mate. I'll pack in a bag, no bother.
That's the kind of special treatment that we need, mate.
When are you flying out?
Wednesday. We get there like dinner time, Las Vegas time on Wednesday.
Yeah. What hotel you in?
The MGM.
Nice, very nice, very nice.
No, absolutely no messing about this year, Stoom.
That's it. I've sung karaoke there myself, like.
Have you?
Yeah, there's a nice big stage for it, so maybe you could celebrate with a bit of that. Do you have a karaoke song?
No, I don't. No.
What about yourself, Stoom?
Nah, mate. I know that you and obviously Callum Murray and all that absolutely love a karaoke. Do you know what I mean? So whenever they go anywhere, Mark, I've heard, if we're going to go out somewhere, let's go to karaoke. Do you know what I mean? So I know you guys over there absolutely love a karaoke, but
you can tell a lot about somebody by the way they sing a song.
Well, I can't sing at all. Do you know what I mean? And Mark definitely
that's why you're
doesn't
doing
look like he can
karaoke
sing.
and not on the real stages.
So, but yeah, it's going to be amazing, Mark. It's going to be unbelievable to see you out there. Do you know what I mean? Because as I said this earlier, I know how much you put into this. Do you know what I mean? This was your dream. This was your dream from, maybe not from the beginning, right? But certainly as you come out of lockdown, this was your goal, was to win the trials. That was the first goal. Do you know what I mean? And you've done that. You've not just said, oh, I'm going to win the ADCC. Do you know what I mean? You've never said that. Your goal was, I want to win the trials. And now we've got a new goal. Do you know what I mean? And the new goal is ADCC.
And we've got about a decade to do it, Stoom.
Okay.
A decade to do it.
Well, you're going to do it this time, man. You're going to do it this time. Do you know what I mean? I
was going to say, mate, you've obviously, you maybe didn't see it like for this as yourself, but like for like Scottish grapplers coming up, probably there's going to be a load of them who are like, fucking, this is, what I want to do. This is what where I want to get to. And you have actually just kicked in the door for, Scottish grapplers moving forward. That was one of the things when I got involved with ADCC that, like really wanted to drive me, was to try and get the level up in Scotland and start to see the young people coming through and doing better at the trials and stuff like that. And you obviously ended up smoking it on your own account, just going for it as well. Had the same goal and smashed it so quickly. But a lot of people will be looking and they'll be just thinking, right, how do I fucking get myself there? So I only had one question really with that, and it's like, what advice would you have for young grapplers that are coming through that that aspire to get to the same position as yourself?
Just fully commit to the goal. I think I really don't think it. I think maybe people don't. I think people underestimate when I say that about full commitment to the goal. And when I say that, I mean like if your goal is to truly like, for example, win trials. You just have to fully commit. So you have to basically, in my opinion, I feel like your everything you do then has to be around getting better at jiu-jitsu. And it's like, there's generally nothing I do in my day-to-day life that doesn't involve me getting better at jiu-jitsu. So it's like, all my training, so all my grappling, and even like different training sessions. So, we've got wrestling, submission wrestling, we've got jiu-jitsu, and we've got positionals, there's drilling, there's so many different things, and it's like, trying to lay that out. And then I've got my weights, I've got cardio, so I've got all of those. And then like that's only like that's just like a small piece of it. Then on top of that, you've got to actually learn. So I've got to, whether that's maybe you have the luxury of having some extra money and you can go to like somebody who is really good at something you're trying to learn, and you can pay for a PT and learn off them, or maybe you're watching YouTube stuff, or maybe you're watching matches, but then actually like investing time in learning. Then you got to invest time in like your sleep has to be perfect all the time. You should make sure you're sleeping all the time. Your food intake, your protein intake, your like water intake, electrolytes, supplements. It's like there's I've got like a legitimate. Every morning I wake up, I've got like a legitimate checklist of everything I've got to do for that day, and there's generally nothing. I don't drink ever. I don't go out. I don't party. I don't like you know, stay out late. I'd like genuinely, there's not a single hour of my day that isn't involved in like getting better jiu-jitsu, whether that be training or lifting weights or doing cardio or learning or eating or sleeping or drinking water or drinking electrolytes, you know, or, you know, even like I do something like 3,000 miles a month traveling, you know, in my car.
I noticed you were heading in to Mataleone and stuff a lot to get the bigger guys hang.
I'm like literally. I think I'm like 2,850 miles a month or something like that. You know, just traveling around the place. It's just full commitment to the goal. I think if you genuinely want to do it, it's full commitment. And I genuinely feel like if people are willing to fully commit to something, I think they'd be shocked at what they can actually achieve. I just think that people don't fully commit to stuff, and like just showing up to training, and you know, training isn't enough. You know, I'm doing like 16 training sessions a week, and then like there's a 17th one where like I'm just kind of trying to drill and learn. So I suppose 17, but I don't tend to really count that. You know, like it was quite funny. Like even was it last night? I think like my girlfriend was like, "Can we just fucking put jiu-jitsu off of the TV for like 1 minute?" She's like, "Just generally 1 minute," because it's like it's almost like I don't even mean it. I just sit down and turn my TV on, and then I'll put on like a jiu-jitsu match or something. I actually don't even mean it.
Am I right in saying your partner's a brown belt as well?
Yeah, Rachel's a brown belt. She got her brown belt off of John, Nick, and Marcos earlier this year. I don't remember exactly when, but she got her brown belt as well.
That's going to help because at least you can bounce off each other and stuff with it, and you know.
Yeah, no, it's really helpful. It's really good, and it's also really good as well because you know she like understands it as well. And then no, she's fantastic. Like you know, like you know, I don't think people. I think people maybe underestimate like what it's like living with somebody that trains like 16, 17 times a week and doesn't do anything but jiu-jitsu. You know. So she puts up with a lot. So you know, I almost
no easy on the old relationships when you're out in the gym every night and everything else.
But she's so supportive as well. She's very, very supportive. I mean, whenever Mark goes to a competition, regardless of what competition it is, do you know what I mean? She'll always put the post up. Do you know what I mean? And
she's there as well.
Yeah, she's there.
Poland, Croatia. She's come to Vegas. I don't think she's ever missed a competition. I don't think not one.
Class.
But she's very, very supportive. She always puts the post up, Mop. This is my man. You know what I mean?
That's a proper Scottish post, man. That's
just in case nobody knows. Do you know what I mean? So, but
no, she deserves a lot of credit because like, even like cooking all of my food, like even like that, like like no, she puts up with a lot. She does. She deserves a lot of credit. But even like that, like. Being deadly serious, like obviously I want to like you know my ultimate, it was a dream, but like now it's my goal. Like my ultimate goal is to like win ADCC, and like I'm only 29 in my weight class. I genuinely have to. I'm probably 40, 41. You know, I got like a solid decade in front of me, and obviously I want to win it for me, but also it's like I kind of you know I want to like be able to, it's almost like repay everything like she's went through as well. It's like you know like here's like look, I've done this, you know, it's actually been worth it.
Paid off.
Yeah, it's actually been worth it, and hopefully make some good money as well to be able to help her and stuff like that. So not 100%, like it's not just trying to do it for me because like that's it. There's a lot of people that actually you know sacrifice, and the thing is it's very you know like living like an athlete, and I know you know this, Mob, but it's pretty selfish.
What about me? I know it as well, man.
Too. But like, it's a very, very selfish pursuit, and it has to be. It really is like a really selfish pursuit. Like, we've never been away on a holiday. Never once been away on a holiday because I can't miss training. I've got ADCC trials to win. I can't go away. I'm sorry. You know, never really even been. I don't think we've ever been away for a weekend. Like, you know, it's like really. Like, put up with a lot, and like when I actually stop and think about it, I really feel like a bit of a prick, to be honest. But like you know, but like like that's it. Like look, we've done it. Like it's actually worthwhile, you know. And it's not going to be forever. It is only going to be for like 10 years, and then hopefully get to 40 and win ADCC, and we can like ride off into the sunset and enjoy life. But she deserves a lot of credit, and even like again like. I know, like, like one of my, like if I finish training like on a Wednesday, for example, or like I've finished like my third session of the day, and like she'll be like waiting for me, and then like we'll go and drill for like 40 minutes, and it's like I know she doesn't want to do that, but it's like I'm trying to work on something. So even just stuff like that, she deserves a lot of credit.
Awesome.
Yeah. You've got some amazing people around you, Mark. We talked about some training partners, Rachel, family, and all that kind of stuff. But anybody you want to shout out to? Any friends, family members, teammates,
I feel
sponsors?
like there's too many individual people to shout out, so I don't want to miss people. But like generally, just like my coaches, my training partners, Rachel, my family, like all of them, and then sponsors. I've got Progress, I've got Strom, I've got Atomic Dojo, Caledonia Sports Physio, and yeah, shout out to Stoom. There you go. Shout out to Stoom.
Mate, you know what? I was waiting on it, man. I was waiting.
Shout out to ADCC Scotland too.
Yes, definitely. Well, Mark, you're definitely an inspiration. Mop touched on it. I mean, you've got people that are coming up now that, don't get me wrong, right, before obviously you winning the trials, do you know what I mean? We had some of the best grapplers in Scotland heading over to the ADCC trials every year in, year out. Doing well. And as the Cammy Donnelly, obviously getting that silver, was the best that we'd done. But then obviously you've now opened up another door for the next generation to come through. Do you know what I mean? So
I think it's just good. I think it's just good to show people that it is actually possible, and I just think I think it just comes down to just being willing to like fully commit to the goal, and like understanding what that actually means. And when it means like fully commit, like it means like fully commit. Like you're not going on holidays, you're not going on weekends away, you're not going out and drinking, you're not drinking ever, you're not partying, you're not missing training sessions. Like I've never, genuinely in 5 years, I've not missed a single training session, not once. And I'm not saying that to like gloat. It's not. I don't find that impressive. Like genuinely don't find it impressive because like all the guys I'm up against haven't missed. It's not impressive. Yeah. It's just
that's
what
the standard.
It's just that's it. It's just the standard. It's not even about. It's not impressive or something to gloat about. It's like that is just actually the standard. You want to do that. That's what it takes. It's, that's it. I'd love to be able to wake up on a Monday morning and be like, I don't want to train 3 times today. I'm just going to take a day off. I'd love that, but it doesn't matter. I've got 3 training sessions to do. Or, when you wake up on a Sunday and, you've got to go and train and you've already trained 14, 15 times that week, you're like, I'd love to just stay in bed, but you can't. You just got to go, and it's just full commitment. And then training is only one small part of it. You've got to also be an athlete as well. Like, being technical is not enough anymore. And I'm not saying to not be technical. Being like technically sound and being world class technically is as important as it could ever be. But you also have to be an athlete now. So you've also got to lift weights and do cardio and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I think it's just about really committing to it. And I think
Scotland, the mental side as well. I mean, the mental side is massive.
And if you think about like America, like so much of America, people always say, "Oh, America, like everyone's amazing in America," but it's not actually true. There's like a small group of people, a tiny group of people in a few gyms around America that are truly world class. I bet if you walked into like a B team, for example, and you just went to their Monday night at 6 o'clock class. Realistically speaking, there's no way that level's better than what the level is in Scotland. But their Monday at 12 o'clock class, where maybe the pros turn up, that is going to be better. But it's just all you need is a select group of people to actually fully commit to the goal. And once you've got that, I feel like that's what expands and grows it. And I think Scotland has just been kind of missing that, where it's not really had like enough people to just fully commit yet. And hopefully they do, because eventually eventually it'd be really nice that like you can win ADCC and not have to think about fucking moving to Texas. That'd be great. It's like Leon Edwards always said, he won the belt from the UK. He didn't go out to America, he won it from the UK, and he kind of set that standard. Tom Aspinall, he won the belt from the UK, so like in MMA, they've kind of got that because they've had, you know, they've had that small group of
The
people.
levels caught up, eh?
Yeah, like they're fully committed, and it's like Tom Aspinall was like, you know, and Leon Edwards were like literally the champions, or Leon Edwards was. So it's like you don't get better than that. So
Yeah.
you know, and he's proved that, and now it's like now every generation that follows, you know, you don't have to go out to America. Jiu-Jitsu hasn't maybe quite be there yet, but hopefully one day it will be.
Oh, they will. I mean, we and I say this all the time. We've got some of the best grapplers certainly around the UK. Do you know what I mean? We get overlooked a lot in Scotland. Do you know what I mean? They tend not to look at us. Do you know what I mean? So for years they've done it. Do you know what I mean? I remember going back when I started 2014. They were like, there is no good grapplers in Scotland, and that's what people used to say from out West Scotland.
That was a big motivation behind the ADCC stuff, and really why I want to, you know, put so much into it. Because I feel like we have got so many great grapplers, you know, all over the place. You know, you've got Kev up north, who's got some really big, you know, wins under his name, and there's a bunch of guys like that, like Shawnee and stuff as well, that have picked up huge wins at the trials, and like just getting these guys out there and getting them a chance to perform, and bringing some top level European people over to compete against them, so they can showcase how good they actually are. And you know, maybe sometimes just it takes one match like that for Polaris to take notice, or Grapple Fest to take notice, and then these guys are going to get, you know, fed onto these cards and get their names out there, because, you know, there just wasn't as much of that out there. But we've got so many great grapplers, and the next generation is just even better. Like some of the purple belts and that coming through are just phenomenal, eh?
Yeah.
There's a lot of scary dudes in Scotland, man. A lot of scary guys. So, guys, there we go then. Mark McQueen, MNBJJ, is going to be heading over to Vegas this weekend. Flies out on Wednesday. Are you going to be in the gym tonight or tomorrow, Mark? Just cheerio.
I was training this morning. I'll be in tonight. I'll be in tomorrow morning, and I'll be in tomorrow night.
Right.
Smash it, mate. The whole country's behind you.
Thank you, mate.
Got it,
Definitely. And don't forget me, mate. Do you know what I mean? So, don't forget me. You can't forget me. But no, listen, I'll be in the gym. I'll pop over tonight or tomorrow, just to kind of catch up with you, say cheerio, enjoy. But yeah, Mark, go out and do your thing, man. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
This is yours, man. Yeah, definitely all the best, brother. All right.